Texas!
He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 71 of 911 Lone Star Roundup. I'm one of your hosts, Katie, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Grace.
Hi, everyone.
And EJ.
Hey, everybody.
Today we will be talking about the season 6 premiere of 911 titled Let the Games Begin. But before we get talking to that, we finally got an air date for Lone Star.
Yay.
Yay. So we will be airing on January 17th, which actually happens to be a Tuesday, so we're also switching days.
Yes.
Which is totally weird. I'm not a fan. I'm slowly but surely opening up to it, but I'm also like, this is weird. Like,
right. We're so used to it being on Mondays.
Right.
And then for them to and when 911 wasn't on, then Lone Star would have the 8 o'clock slot. And then when 911 come back, then Lone Star would have the 9 o'clock slot. So yeah, it's going to be different having it on Tuesdays. But I don't know, Lone Star can stand on its own a little bit. So I totally feel like it can after 3 seasons.
Right.
going
I
into
feel
4.
like they already do. Like, I don't think them airing back to back really makes much of a difference. Like, a lot of people will be like, well, maybe it will be nice though. I like being able to watch them both at 8 when they're both on, because like I don't mind, like I'll watch it when it's like on at 9 and stuff, but like it will be like slightly nice because then like I won't be like, oh, I have to go straight to bed.
Right.
Because that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
So
and I remember as a kid too, like my parents hated having me watch shows that started at 9 because I was getting to bed so late. But so it was a special treat night. Certain nights I was allowed to stay up later, but yeah.
It's
we'll figure
exciting
it out. But
to finally get a date.
Yeah, I'm excited. It is.
I'm
a little
ready for the
later in
trailer.
January. I know, and it's a little later in January than we expected, because we thought because this last season, they started on I think the 2nd or 3rd of the year, so it was for it to start on the 17th. I'm like, oh man,
I know.
Yeah,
but now it gives everyone time to rewatch it.
Yes,
including me.
True. Yep. I feel like we need to as like the 3 of us, we need to do our own rewatch of the whole series, because I think that would be absolutely fun.
Should. I know, I haven't in so long. I think after season 2 I had every intention of doing something like that, but then I didn't.
Yeah.
But I think this year I want to try to. So we'll see. But anyways, let's get to talking about 911.
Yeah.
Yes. So, we started off the season and the episode with the blimp crash at the stadium, which was so crazy. I mean,
there was that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny too, because I'd seen the previews for it, and it didn't even dawn on me, because you see the previews, they happen so quick you don't even think about it. But as soon as I started hearing the pilots, I was like, oh my god, I know who those are. Those are people from shows I used to watch in the 90s, and neither one of you were around then. Well, Katie was, but she was so young she wouldn't remember. But I was like, oh my god, the guy was the commander on Sequest, and the woman was one of the girls on 90210, the original. I was like, oh my god, I know them. And that was my excitement for the blimp scene.
Right. Yeah,
which is amazing.
So yeah, we get this blimp crash at the stadium, and then we see this mother and daughter talking about the daughter's medical issues, and then seconds later, the blimp crash is happening, so everyone's just trying to get out of the building, and the mother gets trampled and the daughter sort of does, and this guy tries helping her up, oh, we have to get you out of here, but then he sees the wires coming out of her backpack and thinks it's a bomb, which I'm just like,
bro, in no way did those look like bomb wires. The fuck?
No. They were coming out of her freaking body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was totally
people
wrong.
are like that. It's just and that just looked, and obviously there's panic there. So then Athena goes in the building, and them being like, oh, there's a bomb and stuff. And when she finds a girl, she's obviously it's a medical device, but she doesn't know what it is. So obviously talking to Maddie, she sends Maddie a picture of it. Maddie was able to be okay, yeah, that's a pump for an artificial heart,
and stuff.
So
Yeah.
And like the girl, like before she passed out, she had said like it's for her heart. So Athena did know that
Yeah. And
and
like
stuff.
Maddie was like, they're supposed to like she was waiting on a heart transplant or something like that.
Yeah,
And I think Maddie had said, well, she's like, there should be a secondary device. And Athena's like, well, there's no other device. And then she's like, oh, so there should have been somebody with her. And like, so then Athena has to go running through the
right,
stadium chaos to find this other device.
right.
Good.
Yeah, like so yeah, and then like Athena has to like, basically like get her connected to the second device and stuff. And I loved after when Athena goes outside and like her and Bobby are talking and he's like talking about crowd control and she's like, no, I just did like surgery or something. Like she said something along the lines of that, which is so funny. I love that. Like I just love that.
I
Like
love their banter.
yeah, banter. That's exactly what I was gonna call it. Like I love it. And like I loved after like when Buck was like, how is the rest of the blimp coming down? And Henry's
Yeah.
just like, not our problem.
I was like, yes, I agree, Hen.
I agree. I say things like that all the time. I'm like, not my problem.
Not my problem.
So then we get to, I guess, the 118, and
Mhm.
it's like, where's Lucy? Oh, so on video chat, we see Lucy, and apparently she broke her foot at a family reunion. She's gonna be out for 6 weeks. And it's like, okay, that's an easy way to be like, she's not here right now. Let's just have her
Yeah.
break her foot at a family
Right.
reunion.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Did we hear anything? Is it Ariel's? Or I think that's how you pronounce her name. What,
Yeah,
is she
her
not
name's
coming
Ariel.
back? For
Um,
is she get
I
another
don't.
cast on
It's
another series or
unclear.
something?
There were rumors in the beginning of the season before the season even aired that she wouldn't be on the season, but then the actress posted things on her Instagram like she was just like, should we really believe everything we read on the internet, which was kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
But I had heard she was in like another show or something, so maybe that's
Yeah.
why she's gone.
It's quite possible. People juggle multiple
Because like
projects
that's
all the
what
time.
happened with Robbie. He's on another show, so he hasn't been in
Yeah.
the season. I freaking miss Robbie.
Oh, I know.
I do
me
miss
too.
Robbie. I saw something a while ago about someone not liking him. I'm like, how do you
How?
not like Robbie?
He's such a cool kid.
Yeah, like
He's so
seriously.
sweet, but yeah, who knows? And like Bobby wanted Lucy to fill in while him and Athena are on vacation, and Buck is just
That
like,
sat wrong with me. I'm
Me
like,
too.
girl, she hasn't even been around that long. Almost
She
everyone
hasn't-
here is in fact more senior in the station.
Yeah.
right in
exactly.
the station, but like, and people like online were making like comments like, what? Why would we have her? And like they had explained that she had been a firefighter for like 10 years
Yeah.
and stuff, but like
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah, seniority
Yeah.
wise usually is the cause for like them getting that, but also depending on where
She-
they are in the station, and she hadn't been there for like more than 6 months. So I just want to say I want
That's
Captain
also
Eddie
barely senior.
sometimes.
I know, but
Bro,
that's
he'd be
too
a
much
good captain.
pressure.
I
And
want-
he
I
doesn't
think he might
want
go
it.
slightly insane. No,
he doesn't
no.
want it. But
And
I'm like,
Buck
ugh,
is hurt because it's like,
yeah.
oh, I'm not like being picked. And like Buck sits on this because then we get to the Buckley Diaz family dinner at
Oh
Buck's
my god, that
um,
was freaking
house.
amazing. Ugh.
And Buck
That was
is going on and on about it, like, why not me? Or what about you, Eddie? And Eddie's just like, I just got back. So like understandably so,
No.
he does not want it.
Right.
And then
No.
and I just think it's funny because Chris tells Buck, you don't even have a couch.
Yeah.
And Eddie and Chris just laugh
I
and fist
love
bump each other at that. And Buck is just like, what does that have to do with being a fire captain? And Chris says, it's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird you don't have a couch. And Buck is just like, oh, well, my last two couches came with girlfriends. And Eddie's like, I think you mean your last two girlfriends came with couches.
So
think
I just
he-
say that his next boyfriend could come with an entire house with including a couch. Just saying. Sorry. I just
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's been 4 months too, like since him and
Yeah.
Taylor had broken up. So like the fact that I mean, there is like this whole like reason and like symbolism of why there's no
Yeah.
couch,
Right.
which we'll touch on later. But like it's just funny. I find this scene so funny and I just love it 'cause it's so like domestic and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're starting off good, strong
And
because Buddy.
yes, and
Yeah.
Buck was making he barely made like cooked for like Taylor at all. And then like he makes Bobby's famous lasagna for Eddie and Chris.
That he had to learn 3
Mhm.
times how to do, but effort.
It's like, and I was like, he's putting in
Effort.
effort to serve Eddie and Chris. I'm like, and you could tell this wasn't the first time this had happened because it just
Yeah.
seemed so comfortable there. I was like,
Because
ugh,
Eddie's worth it.
he
Mhm.
was.
That redhead was not worth it.
Exactly.
That red.
Red too.
I got immediately. I'm just like, that's that red.
Okay.
Anywho,
So then we get Maddie, Chim, and G, which oh my god, G is getting so big.
She is.
she's
And,
so
like,
big.
To be honest, like obviously this aired months ago. So like this is my third time watching it, but my first time watching it since then. And I forgot some things, so I was just like, oh, this is where we started. Okay.
That was, I don't know. That was just really cute. I love Chi.
I know. And then we get another call. We get a dad and a son golfing. And this is the thing about this call, like the son reaches his hand into like this wood chipper because the ball had went in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the machine turns on, which you're like, yeah,
This
when
is
you
not
stick
gonna go well.
when you stick your hand in somewhere where it doesn't belong, what did you think was gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
But like the ring saves his hand, but then it also like hits his dad, and they
In
all
the
think,
chest.
yeah, and they all think when they get there, the 118, they all think the guy is shot.
Right. And
A reasonable assumption to make.
Buck
to be
is
honest.
totally trying to prove himself to be captain material.
I know he's like making like he's like,
I'm
okay, come on,
cringing
let's
the
go.
entire time.
Yeah,
And I think
But
who
then-
was it? Bobby or Athena or something made a comment about like what's up with him or something.
Yeah, that's about right.
yeah, that sounds about right. Then we got a little bit of Maddie and Josh, which I loved because like I missed them.
I love that.
And
been
it's
too long.
like Maddie isn't like the like Josh is like, oh, you and Chimney like, and like being like kind of trying to be like, yeah, there's something there because like they're not quite to like the let's get back together part, but like Maddie's kind of living with him since like her apartment got flooded, and Josh is just kind of like, what about that and stuff.
Josh is great.
I love
I'm sorry,
Josh.
but yeah, we need more of him, and I'm
Yeah.
glad we're finally getting back to their friendship.
Right.
Yes.
It had been almost a season.
Yeah, because when she was in Boston, like we hadn't like gotten like even last
Well-
season we didn't get them till like the finale.
Yeah, it's pretty much the first part of season 5, and then she came back and wasn't a dispatcher. So yeah, it was pretty much the entire season 5.
Pretty much, yeah. Season 5 was just weird.
Season
A
5
weird
was
time.
weird.
It was weird.
I agree.
Like I feel like we're finally coming up. Like last season, I felt like I think the writers are like doing some drugs while they're writing. And
Because
this
Buck and Eddie
season,
had
it's like,
girlfriends. That was just the wrong part of it.
That was
Sorry.
literally most of
Sorry.
the wrong part of it.
no, it's true. That's why it's funny. It's so true. Like
I'm sorry. It just
they dated women. What? You're kidding, right?
I'm like, yeah, they're not straight.
yeah.
Anyways,
So then we see May finally going off to college, and it's like a long time coming. Wow, we're here. And then we see Bobby come out and he's like picking out his shirts for vacation. And I don't know why, that's just like the funniest thing ever. And like Bobby is just like, he's so on it. Like he's like, oh, our room is this big. So we
Right.
need to make sure to pack light so we're not jumping over our suitcases. I don't want to be jumping over our suitcases.
And
he's
May is
got
like,
like this
what is
plan.
going on?
Athena's just like, okay. I don't know.
Athena's just humoring him.
Yeah, pretty much. So then Athena shows up to Hen's because Hen didn't show up for lunch because obviously med school, busy, life, she forgot.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I love that friendship because it's just like, and Athena brought her food. Like, yes, we love that. Like, that's great. Like,
Yeah, we do.
that just makes my heart happy. And like Athena mentioned this thing about their vacation and like how like Bobby is like going full into like all the plans, and like Athena mentions like like it takes a lot because he's going on a cruise ship that has 11 bars, so he's trying to keep busy because that's not easy for an
Right, it's
addict.
not.
And I'm
like,
like, never thought of it, but yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
because like we just thought like when they first said like how he was like mapping everything out, it was just like, oh, he's real into this. And then I was like,
Mhm.
wait, but like there's this, and it's like,
Right.
oh shit.
Which is why
I'm glad
Athena
they
was so
brought it up
good.
again.
Yeah.
She could have easily, like, Athena could have easily shot him down, but I'm glad they had her encourage him to just kind of not, like, she just kind of took it because she was trying to encourage him by letting him, if that's what was going to make him feel comfortable about taking a trip like that, then, do it.
Yeah, cruise
Right.
ships are truly heavy on bars.
Yeah, there's
And
like,
so, that's half the
most-
fun for a lot of people, but at the same time, it presents a problem for people that don't want to drink or are really trying to
Yeah.
stop.
Right,
Yep.
that's true. So then we see the next morning, Maddie and Shim, and Shim shows up to work 2 hours early to avoid he was like, yeah, avoiding a one night stand with my ex. So he shows up early, and I love
how they're at this stage, even though they have a kid together and were
Yeah.
together for a while. Like he's running out after them sleeping. I'm like,
I know.
where did he? Okay,
It's so Chim though. Like I feel like that's
it's
so
very chim.
It's very Chim, exactly. And like I love just like Eddie and Bobby like telling him like, you just delayed that conversation. Like you really did do yourself no favors.
right.
And
Like,
we made that conversation worse
Yeah.
because you
Yes.
ran out.
exactly. And elsewhere, we see Maddie literally run into Noah, the new dispatcher, which when we first met him, I was like, okay, I kind of like him. Like we literally just got this interaction, but I was like, okay, I don't know, just something there. I'm like, okay, this is cool. We got
Mhm.
new people. That's cool.
The thing is that when they bring in new people, there's always a reason. And so
That's
I'm
true.
there like, okay, he's not just going to be in the background.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was a little worried that they were going to replace Josh and Maddie's friendship. I wasn't worried about anything else or anything, but I was
Yeah.
a little worried about that. And so
Well, I thought-
That never
Yeah.
crossed my mind. I was just like, he's here.
I was.
I thought something was up. I mean, part of me was like, okay, well, if May's going to be back to college now and she's not going to be working, which means they want to have another one. But I'm like, we were doing fine with Josh and Maddie and what's her name? Linda, the one that was going to be befriending Eddie. I'm like, we have plenty of great dispatchers. Why are we bringing in another one? And I was like, okay, are they up to something? Like, what's the plan? Like, are they replacing somebody else? Yeah. We'll have to talk about that in another episode.
Yeah,
But-
that's skipping way ahead.
Yeah, but the thing with that is like they're trying to give Josh like a supervisor role, so like in a
Which I'm
sense I
happy
kind
for.
of
He
understand.
deserves it.
Yeah, I know exactly. Like so I kind of understand why we're not just getting like Josh and Maddie or even Maddie and Linda.
Mhm.
But yeah, so let me see Buck coming out of the ambulance, and Hen walks by and she's just kind of like, what are you doing in my ambulance? And Buck is like, it's our ambulance. It's like, yeah, okay, Buck. And
Sure, continue to think that.
yeah, exactly. And Buck is just like trying to still prove himself. He has a
Yeah.
clipboard and it's like, oh dear God, no. And Hen snatches the clipboard from him, which is funny because it just is, because nobody should give Buck a clipboard. Like, haven't you learned?
Clipboard Buck is terrifying.
Like when Chip was like, never give Buck a clipboard.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
then
like, we've learned this.
we've seen this been down the shore before. And Buck says, "You can take that. This is property." And Hen says it's a weapon in the wrong hand.
I love it.
Yeah. And then like Ken goes to see Bobby and tells him that he has to like announce his replacement because she can't take Buck trying to prove himself any longer. And Bobby's like, "Oh, so that's what he was trying to do."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Yep." And like Bobby like was like, "Oh yeah, it's a tough call, but like and stuff, but like he wants it to be Hen. Because she's a great leader and like she's smart, she's decisive, and like yes, we love it." And
She
like
is the best option.
yeah, I never really
Hands
like
down.
if you laid out all the options or no, not even laying out the options. If you had said like anybody on the 118 will be captain, I would have been like, "Oh yeah, it's Hen."
Yeah, me neither.
Like I wouldn't have thought that that would have been it. I don't even know who I
Mhm.
thought it would have been. I guess like Ken is the best option out of all of them because we know Chim's not going to do it again, and like I don't think
Well,
Eddie would be ready.
they
Buck
even
is
kind of
not
alluded to it
ready.
with, yeah. Well, they alluded to it with Chim about, he's like, y'all said never again.
Nobody wants that.
He's like, nobody wants a repeat of that. And then yeah, you're right, Eddie having just coming back to the 118 over, just a few months prior. And
Also, he doesn't just have him. He also has a kid to worry about. He's a single
Yeah.
dad. So
Right.
I don't think he could have taken the time commitment that he would have been fine. Like he would have done great. I don't think he could have like made it work.
Well, and
as
there's
well.
so many, AARs, after action reports, and all this like documentation and stuff that has to be used, like done after each call. And so there's a lot that happens. And
Right.
and I get what he was saying. He wanted it to be Hen, but he wasn't going to pick her because he knew she had a lot on her plate.
Right. And Hen like says it would only be like what 3 shifts. So she was like, "Okay, I'll do it." So she
Right.
does it. And like so then Bobby has to go talk to Buck, and Buck is still like trying to prove himself. He's like doing all this work, and
Right.
but it's not Buck. Like, sorry,
Yeah.
Buck, but not this time. And
Yeah.
Bobby like tells Buck how he would make a good captain someday, but like not today. And he needs like more life experience, which is so true. Like he's
Yeah.
come a long way already, but like we need a little bit more time.
Yeah, and honestly, kind of am able to relate this a little to my own life because so at my job I'm second most senior server there because I've been there longest save for one other person who's already a lead and has been since I got there. And I know that they were looking for another lead, so I kind of thought, I've been there the longest besides the other lead. I already do a lot of lead work. I already help out a lot of the people. I already am cross-trained in 4 different positions. So I'm like, except save for bartender, I'm in all front of house positions.
Yeah.
And then they promoted another server to lead.
Yeah.
And that stung a little bit because I was like,
Right.
kind
Right.
of felt like, that kind of felt like a slap in the face considering everything I put into my job. And I was actually working through it that shift because first of all, the lead that was promoted, he's good. But I was kind of working through it during that shift. And I'm like, you know what? I think I may have actually worked out why. And it's not that I'm bad at it or anything, but I can't bartend. I think they want someone who's going to be able to get behind the bar when they got slammed.
Yeah, which is possible
because the other lead couldn't get behind the bar because he's younger than me.
Okay.
And I'm like, you know what? I could be wrong, but it would make a lot of sense. So I'm like,
Right.
that I'm kind of able to relate here because I don't have that experience. I'm not able to have that experience for another 3 months. So I'm like, just a little bit more time. I don't think it doesn't reflect on my work. I don't think it just
Right.
it isn't the right time for this. So
Right.
granted, I did work through that during the course of one shift where book took a while, but still,
Right.
like I kind of am able to relate here.
Yeah, amen.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
and then I feel bad. So like the whole couch thing comes up again because Buck even asked Bobby, he's like, "Is this because I don't have a couch?" And Bobby's like, "What?"
Yeah.
He's like,
You don't
"Why
have a
don't you
couch?
have a couch?" Buck's like, "I'm having trouble picking one out." And it's definitely a huge metaphor for Buck right now because he's gone through so many relationships and when Taylor moved out, she apparently took the couch, which I'm like, where was the couch that Buck had? Because I know when he moved in there, he had a couch, but it was
No, remember when she moved in that they got rid of his couch and they
Oh,
gave it
that's
to somebody,
right.
and
That's
then
right.
so they moved her couch, and that was like so that just was so bad because like we already saw
Yeah.
that she moved in on like wrong circumstances because Buck couldn't tell her that he kissed Lucy, so it was like, hey, move in, yay.
Right. Yeah. So let's, yeah. So
Bad
and
juju.
I get it. So Buck's kind of like the
Ouch.
last few girlfriends, and I think Eddie was right. The last few girlfriends came with couches and baggage, whereas so Buck's like, what does he do on his own? And right now he doesn't have a couch because he's having a hard time picking it out. I mean, if he talks to Eddie about it, I mean, I'm gonna keep saying that until it happens because I'm like, they keep dropping so many freaking hints. I was like, one of these days, something's gonna happen.
I would hope so, but
Oh
like
my gosh.
One of these days.
Writers,
so.
come on.
What are you thinking?
I have a hard time putting all my trust in Buddy and people who said, no, they straight. Nope. They're just besties.
I went down a rabbit hole the
Uh-huh.
other night when I couldn't focus on writing, and I watched like Buddy video after Buddy video after Buddy video, and I'm like, if y'all don't like watch these are like thesis on why it should happen.
I could
Oh my
write a whole
gosh.
10-page paper on why Buddy should happen. I'm sure we all could.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We
But
could
yeah.
write a dissertation, the three of
Pretty
us.
much. I could read so much on that. Anyways, so Buck ends up picking out a chair, which can mean so many things,
Yeah,
but like
it
obviously
does.
it's like him choosing him, and people are like, so when's the couch coming? I'm like, guys, if you think he's getting a couch after all of this, you're missing the whole point.
Right. He's choosing the
Literally.
chair, a chair that he can sit in. He's choosing himself. And I think that's huge. Buck has been trying to be with girls for so long that it's not working. He's got to change something else. And maybe it's time for Buck to have some time to himself. Choose
Yeah.
himself and
I'll
some
wait for
self-care.
Buddy. I'll wait for Buddy if he needs to have the time. Like seriously. Just saying.
Yep.
Yeah. The a lot of people when this aired made a lot of good points about the chair, like people were like men. And I was like, okay. Like I listened to everyone's like points and I'm like, okay, I like these. It was interesting when these like first couple episodes aired, hearing everything and stuff. But then we get Maddie moving in with Chim we got here. Yeah, and it was so cute
Finally.
Well, I think we
because-
briefly missed the scene earlier. So she and him, so Chim was there at the house and like they kind of had a confrontation and like he wasn't really sure how it was gonna go. And so he ends up asking her to move back in. And so yay, they're moving back in, yay.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a good thing.
Yeah, so but it was cute because G was saying like mama leaving or mama leave, and Maddie is like, no, mama stay.
Yeah, I loved that.
Yeah, that
Oh.
was special.
We've been waiting for that. I get Maddie needed some time. She needed to get through her depression. And I have a friend who's gone through some of that and needs time or needed time. So it takes time, but she's back. She's better and Maddie's better. She's growing like amazingly. She's so cute.
I know. So then we end with Athena FaceTiming her mom and dad, and it's like, like they're about to go on vacation, Bobby and Athena, so they're like talking about that. And then like her dad was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the hardware store and get stuff for some project he's gonna work on. Don't you know he just crashes his car into the house? So it's like, oh shit.
Right. And I was like, here, I'm like starting to laugh about his mom, like her mom teasing him about how he's got more hardware tools than the hardware store does because that's his like guys hangout thing. And then all of a sudden, like the car crashes into the house. And I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
It was a lot. And see, this is where it comes in because, the blimp was not the major emergency.
No, honestly.
It wasn't. This is what I'd term major emergency.
See, I don't even think there was a major emergency. I think they're trying to shy away from these huge, massive emergencies because you can't top the last one. And honestly, they haven't been able to top one since the tsunami. Nothing will
That's
top the
fair.
tsunami. And I think they're
Yeah.
realizing that, like, hey, we can't do better. Like, we can't just outdo ourselves every year with whatever we do. And doing these massive emergencies, they're gonna have to end at some point. So I just think
Or
they're
at
gonna
least transition into something else.
Yeah.
right. So a lot of people were like going into the season, myself included, being like, "Ooh, this blimp is gonna be like crazy." It was maybe like 13 minutes of like that call, maybe even less than
Yeah.
that. Like it wasn't really much, and a lot of people are like, "Damn, like I thought that was a lot bigger." Like yeah, I did too, but like
Yeah.
I liked it because then they didn't try to drag it out, and it would have been cool to see like this massive thing, but then again, like, did we really need that? I think
Yeah.
we need to learn, we need to just realize that we can't have like these huge, massive
Mhm.
things.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we may find that they're holding off and gonna do it later in the season too. I mean, they might have just decided to not put that emergency at the beginning.
I don't really think so. I think
'Cause
they're just not gonna do it.
they might not. I know that like they were definitely advertising like it was like terror in the skies, and it's like it's a freaking blimp.
Yeah,
And a freaking blimp.
it was nothing like and like
Yeah. It was resolved so quickly, and it just
which was
passed over.
fine. I'm okay
Yeah,
with that
I'm fine with
because
that.
like sometimes the emergencies are just like too drawn up, and it's like okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it was perfectly enjoyable.
Yeah, I liked it was like a low key premiere, which I don't think we've ever gotten. So like I just really liked that. Maybe in season one, but like to be honest, I don't remember much of season one because I don't watch it.
Yeah, we blocked it out.
We don't talk about season one.
We don't talk about
That
season one.
season one.
I love that.
I couldn't help it.
Oh my god. Not me sitting over here.
The thing is
Katie
that
needs to make a TikTok video about that.
Oh my god, I so will. Oh,
the thing
don't
was
tell me
EJ,
that.
EJ, the thing was is that I was restraining myself from it, and then you started like, yeah.
I loved it. I was here for it. Not me in my brain being like, I think we need to put that on the shirt.
I know.
911 has 6 seasons. Actually, it has 5. We don't talk about season 1.
Wait, that would be so good. Okay, but like, I don't know. Like
All in
this,
all, what do you guys think of the
yeah.
episode?
I really liked it. I liked I don't know, it was low key, but I liked it. And I just liked where we were starting the season good with Buddy because I felt all this gay energy in this episode because
Yes. Oh my god,
we
yes.
had the lesbian pilot, we had the
Yep.
gay dad or the gay son with his dad, and then we had all
We
that
love
Buddy
representation.
stuff. We had the
Amen.
chair stuff, which could be looked at that way. And I'm just like, yes, we're getting
Yes.
Buddy. I don't know if we are because I just don't trust the writers at all.
Yeah.
But like, we're going in somewhat of a better direction than we have in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked the episode. It was already doing much better than season 5, like the entirety of season 5. So, I think it was just kind of assurance, like, okay, I feel like we're getting back on track, and I think it's really a good prelude to what came up next. Not to mention, I do love me the representation that was happening in this episode, as stated. Queer, yes.
Yeah. Overall I love the show. I think it was a good episode. It was a great start. I think honestly it was a better start than some of the last few seasons. Like, not that they were terrible starts, but like the blackout was not that, not that
That was a letdown.
It was a huge letdown. Like
the mudslide was kind of so I'm like, 4 and 5 were kind of so I get what you're saying earlier about like the tsunami was really like the best like natural disaster. And yeah, I love the representation in there. I love the messages that it showed in there with the couple, and like the that excuse me, the one call with the guy and his dad golfing, and the whole thing about the ring and how he had gotten like eloped and was wearing the ring on the golf course and he shouldn't have been, and so there's this like banter about the ring and just the little things that they put in there, because I like to see it more normal and treated more normal, like, because it is, and I appreciate that the writers are not afraid of that. I just really wish they would address the
Elephant in the room that has
yeah
stayed there from the zoo episode and was still hiding there from long before.
yeah the elephant's been sitting in there eating peanuts, watching them, just shaking its head. Like,
It's getting fat on peanuts. Come on, let's get it out there. Get some exercise. Like,
and I
come
know
on.
I constantly bring it out, but like I would be okay if we don't get a like couple like buddy, but we get more relationships. And as Katie said earlier, we're recording this obviously several months after the season started, so we've seen some of the new episodes, and I've seen a lot of people comment like, but Buck and Eddie weren't even talking this episode, and why are we not getting Buck and Eddie scenes? And I'm like, I get it, like, but they also don't have to talk every season, every episode.
Yeah, we don't need to get deep, meaningful shit all the time. We don't even
Right.
get that with like, canon ships.
Yeah, but yeah, it just there's episodes where like Bobby and Athena don't even interact, like, so it's not like, oh, they're mad at each other. It's just
I
part of the
know.
writing. It happens, and so we're gonna get episodes where they're not gonna have conversations, and we're gonna get episodes that have conversations. So like, be happy with what we get when we get it, but I would just love for the writers to kind of pursue a little bit further. So
Yeah, come on, guys, please, we're begging you. Give us
I
something.
think it's great. I'm looking forward to it. And if you guys can't figure it out, we're gonna talk about season 6A. So I'm looking forward to talking about the other episodes, because we've watched some of the episodes together. So I'm excited to kind of talk about it for you guys and let you guys.
I
kinda
know,
chime in
because
on
we've kind of
thoughts.
had our own private podcast,
Yeah.
An unrecorded podcast.
unrecorded podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening and joining us. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Anchor. We're also on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, and anywhere you can find your podcasts. You can rate us on iTunes and Spotify. It would mean a lot to us. You guys can follow us on our socials at MLS Roundup on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We also have a Discord server. We love chatting with you guys on there, so be sure to check that out in the description of this podcast and in our Instagram bio. You guys can follow me, Katie, at Full of Turles on Instagram and TikTok.
You guys can follow me, Grace, at RunninRathla911 on Instagram and at SheepGirl31 on Twitter.
And you can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram and Twitter. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.